Welcome back to episode 39 of G'day from the USA. I'm your host, Lady Amanda, and I thought it would be fun to have a chat about what it's really like for an Australian living and working in the USA. I'm very excited to announce that my co-host this week is another Aussie. Craig was born and raised in Wollongong and now lives in central Jersey on the east coast of the USA, is as Australian as a 4 and 20 meat pie. You love him? You miss him?
I do. Oh, Amanda, you would not believe. G'day, by the way.
G'day.
Just saying g'day from the USA to the USA. So, yeah, I do miss my meat pies.
Yes.
I miss my meat pies.
Anything like it here?
No, nothing at all. Although in saying that, I do have a story. If you're ready to go straight into it, well, let's just
always down, ready to go down a rabbit hole.
Let's dive into the deep end. So it was only 3 weeks ago, Amanda, and I was here at home in central Jersey itself, right near the Jersey Shore. So for those of you who are listening, if you're from the USA, you know the Jersey Shore with Snooki and all that sort of stuff. Yes, New Jersey hate that show, just saying.
Never watched it.
No, neither have I, to be honest with you. And I probably never want to either, to be honest. But I live right there on the Seaside Heights on the Jersey Shore, exactly when like the Hurricane Sandy came through a few years ago and washed away the whole shoreline, and the Ferris wheel and the what do you call it, roller coaster was actually in the middle of the ocean. But that's another story.
Great photos. So I'm crazy.
They are. So I'm here at home, and I was sitting at home, and a couple of my friends, they messaged me. They said, "Are you at home?" I said, "Yeah, I'm at home." And they're local friends here. They're New Jerseyites, New Jerseyans. And so they popped in, and I could smell it. I could smell it as they walked through the door, and they had a brown paper bag. They had it in a brown paper bag. 2 Aussie, real Aussie
talking dirty.
meat pies.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
That's amazing.
What happened was that we're coming back from like not a little road trip, like a little weekend trip away.
Yeah.
And they were driving back towards home, and they live near me. And as they're driving back, my mate, he's a passenger in the car. He said, "Stop, stop, stop, stop." He saw a kangaroo on the side of a food truck.
Whoa.
And he said, "There's a kangaroo on the side of that food truck. Craig's going to enjoy this no matter what it is." They turned around, and it was a meat pie, Aussie meat pie food truck.
That's amazing.
So they're out at Trenton, apparently, and I think they're G'day meat pies. They call themselves G'day pies.
I think I looked this up. I didn't realize.
I had it on my social media.
Yeah.
And so it's at Trenton, which is on the border of New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
And so they're over there. So they do meat pies. They do sausage rolls as well. And these, I'll tell you, Amanda, these meat pies, they were to die for. Now, I'm a meat pie connoisseur because before I moved over here, I was living in the north coast of New South Wales, near Byron Bay, actually.
Oh, nice.
And there's a small town near Byron Bay called Uki. UKI is the name of the town.
Okay, haven't heard of it.
Uki pies have the best meat pies in Australia. There's a big one for you. Yeah. Uki meat pies on the north coast.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you.
Connoisseur.
How do you go with people calling you Craig?
Oh, funny, brother. Now, it's funny, Amanda, too. Normally I go off show notes. I've got no show notes here, so I don't know what you're going to ask me.
I'm loving this.
Okay. What happens is it absolutely kills me, right? Whenever I go through a drive-through.
Because have you seen those Craig tools?
They say Craig.
Yeah.
They don't say Craig. They say Craig.
Because every time I listen to your podcast. Sorry, I should have introduced you. Explain your podcast.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I've got a couple of podcasts now, Amanda.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I'm an avid geocacher over here in the US, and so I've got a couple of YouTube channels. One is the Aussie geocacher See My Shell. See My Shell is my sort of nickname or handle, because my first name is Craig. That's the C. My last name is Michelle, like the girl's name. So See My Shell.
Oh, I love that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know.
So I've only known about the treasures of our town. I did not know about this other one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So my YouTube channel, the Aussie geocacher See My Shell, but then I've got another YouTube channel which is more dedicated towards an Aussie in America, and it's called An Aussie in America. Like your G'day from the USA, I'm an Aussie in America. See, so it's cool. We're similar, same but different. You know,
snap.
And then, and so my first podcast, Treasures of Our Town, is a travel-based podcast, but its travels are based upon our love of geocaching. It's a friend of mine, Joshua, the geocaching vlogger. He lives in Minnesota. And the two of us do a podcast on our travels or travels around USA that we do together as well. My second podcast, which is only new, it's only like a month old. And I've teamed up now with another geolocation-based game called Munzie.
Yes,
And
I'm very
Munzie,
confused what this is, but intrigued. I saw you at the gym.
So Munzie itself is a location-based game.
Right.
If you know about geocaching, you're looking for containers in the wild to sign the logbook and you log it online.
Yes.
That's geocaching. Pokemon Go, everyone knows Pokemon Go is more electronic version where you go to a location still and then you catch the Pokemons and swipe up. Well, Munzie is like, if Pokemon Go and geocaching had a child, it's Munzie.
Interesting.
So Munzie is a very points-based game. So you're in it for the points. You're more points than anything else. You're not really in it that much to find cool containers because there aren't any containers to find. There's physical and virtual Munzies. Virtuals are exactly that. They're virtual. You've got to get in a certain range itself, like 300 foot, for instance, and then you can cap the virtual Munzie and get points for that Munzie. There's physical ones out there, but the physical ones are purely a QR code sticker on things like back of signs or on lampposts and that sort of style. But it's a very points-based game. And the difference as well compared to geocaching is that you can capture the same Munzie more than once.
Ooh.
You see? So there's special things that come over. They're called bouncers. They're like a mythical creature, and they're goblins and all this sort of other sort of stuff as well. Witches, and they'll jump on your bouncer near you, a Munzie near you, and then you'll have to cap it, and you get 3 or 4 times the amount of points for capping that. So,
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the way it works. Munzie.
So back to your name. When you introduce yourself, and then someone says Craig or whatever, do you correct them and be like, it's actually Craig? Or have you tried to get them to say it your way?
No. What happens is, and I get this all the time, and my wife, she laughs every single time. Normally for me, I like using the mobile apps like for McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, that sort of thing. And so when I go through, I say a mobile app and a mobile order for Craig. And they go, sorry? I go, Craig. And if I'm patient at the time, if it's after I've had my morning coffee, then I'm patient. If it's before, I'm not patient. Before my coffee, I'll go, Craig, and I'll just say it really American, like an awful American accent. And they'll go, okay, come through, not a problem, window 1. And then I'll go to window 1, that's it. But if I've got patience, and I'll say Craig, and they'll go, they'll say Greg. I go, no, Craig. They go, Frank?
Gosh.
Craig. Yeah, I get so many times. Craig is one of the hardest names that Americans can't get.
It's even like, Creed. Rihanna, the singer. Like, she introduces herself as Rihanna, yet Americans will be like, Rihanna. I'm like, her name is literally Rihanna. She's actually saying, hi, I'm Rihanna. And you're like, oh, hi, Rihanna. Yeah. But I guess it's like Megan and Megan. Like, I keep thinking Megan, and someone's like, it's Megan. And I'm like, it just comes out Megan.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
I got that. I got that the other day on one of our podcast episodes as well. We had a Megan on it, and I asked her if it's Megan or Megan. She said Megan, and she looked at me with surprise if to say who's Megan. I'm like, in Australia we call your name Megan, but you say Megan.
It's like a whole different language, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. Don't get me started on language barriers. We're all English, but
they
bastardize. They bastardize the English language.
Chinese here. Sometimes. Like, how many times a day does someone say to you, huh? Like, what? Like, all day long.
But I like it. I enjoy it. I take the thrill of it. I conversation starter. People will say to me, where you from? I go, New Jersey. And they look at me funny. Because I am now. I live in New Jersey. I'm not lying, I know.
I feel like to really mess with someone that you do that. Like, I just say, oh yeah, Portland. And they're like,
what? Well, one story I've got, and this is the very iconic of Americans, most Americans. And I went into a gas station, filled up the gas, and went to the gas station to buy something. And I said, oh, just that, thanks, no worries. And she's like, where are you from? And I said, oh. And I always say, crikey, where do you think I'm from? That's my line.
I love it.
Crikey, where do you think I'm from?
You're handing it to them on a platter.
You're handing it to
Yeah.
them. And Americans and Australians don't know this. Americans love Steve Irwin more than what Australians did.
Okay, so I literally just did a TikTok on this that I haven't posted yet, and I said exactly that. I said I'm probably going to get slaughtered by every Australian, but he was bigger over here than he ever was back home.
That's true. 100% true. 100% true. I can vouch for that.
I'll be
your vouch for that. Not a problem at all. But so I give it to him on a silver platter. Yeah. Crikey, where do you think I'm from? This one woman, she said, "Oh, you're from England." And I said, "No, try again." I said, "Crikey, try again." And I tried to put it on as much as I can, mate. And she goes, "Oh, if you're not from England, you must be British." Oh, I'm like, that's the same thing.
Okay. Try number 3. You can do it.
I get South Africa. I get New Zealand.
Yes, Irish.
And then I get the Australian.
Yeah.
You get Irish?
I get Irish. Wow. And then sometimes it's Irish. Like, "Oh, you sound like you're from down south." I'm like, really, really south. Really, really south. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's exactly what I say.
So
more south than what you've been.
Exactly. How did you end up here? Like, what? So, why? How?
Long story short, and that is 2018. I come over here,
so 5 years.
And it was for geocaching purposes as well.
Okay.
So they had a mega, well, more than a mega. It was a giga event,
right?
And what that means is a mega event is 500 people. A giga is 5,000 people. So there was 5,000 people event happening in Cincinnati, the first ever in the USA in 2018.
Yep.
I said, you know what? I am going to take some time off work and I'm going to go across and go to that giga event because I've always wanted to go to America. I've never been, always wanted to go. But, of course, I'm probably only go there once in my life, so I'm going to make the most of it. Yep. And I flew into New York. I did the self-drive RV camper van sort of style.
You're by
and
yourself,
drove across
or did you
the
bring
states.
Friends?
By myself.
Oh, wow.
By myself
that
across the states.
Courage.
30 days, 26 states in 30 days. And I blew the minds of a lot of Americans because we'll talk about that later about how they don't like to travel.
Yeah.
So I traveled drove all the way across. Now, to the day after the Giga event itself, I was at a geocache location and it was a random car park. I can say car park to you. I love it.
And I understand.
I was in a random car park in Indiana. No one else around. This car park was just dead. There was shrubs growing everywhere, and I was at a geocache location. I was finding the cache. This woman turned up in another car, and she got out of the car, blonde hairs, like the big buzzies.
Typical American, would you say?
Kind of, but really attractive.
Conjure up that image. I'm now picturing her.
Yeah, really. Really attractive.
Yeah. So
she walked up and she said, "Oh, hi, you a geocacher?" I go, "Yeah, I am." And she's like, "Oh, I love your accent." I'm like, "Oh, I love you." and we did the cache together. I was actually periscoping at the time. You remember the app Periscope?
I have
remember that at all?
Never heard of it.
Periscope was like a live video feed, so it was like Instagram Live or Facebook Live or YouTube Live. It was a live feed, but it was only live. That was it. There was no other type.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that live video feed. And to this day, I've still got it actually recorded, funnily enough, when we first met. Yeah.
That's really cool.
And we left. We exchanged. We didn't even exchange numbers. We left. She went one way, I went the other. She go in different directions. Wow. That was it. 2 days later, she found me on Instagram saying, "Are you the Australian geocacher that I met that time?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." And I'm like, "Thank you for So I had a look. Reaching back out, she's got like all these different photos on her Instagram, and I'm like, this guy here, this guy here, this guy here, all different guys. Yeah. I'm like, hang on, is she with someone or isn't she? I didn't know. Yeah. But anyway, I left it be. Commented a couple of times over the next 12 months on her page.
So you've gone back to Australia?
Well, I'm back in Australia. Yeah, I'm back in Australia. I moved as well because I used to work in Sydney. Mm-hmm. And then I got a job up the coast. So I worked up the coast out of a place called Casino near Lismore.
Okay.
With all the flooding.
I know Lismore, anyway. But not Casino. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Casino's 45 minutes west of Lismore.
Okay.
And
you turned American west of Lismore. That is very American.
Really? No, I say it because I say east and west because I'm a geocacher. That's my location. That's what I do. And also my professional background as well.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I'm a police officer in Australia.
Interesting.
So we used to be a police officer in Australia. And so we used to say north, south, east, west. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Why? Because I actually sound like a decent, and I'm the worst type of police officer that everyone encounters too. I'm highway patrol, ex-highway patrol, so even worse. I know, right?
So do you do anything similar here?
No.
Oh, now I'm very curious to hear this story now. Okay, so she reaches out to you. You're on.
So she reached out to me. I'm coming in here and there, not much, but she reached out and she said, her and her friends are going to come to Australia, and if she gives me an itinerary, let me know if it's doable.
Yeah.
Now, Amanda, she gave me this itinerary, and like every American that I've ever met, they have no clue about the size of Australia.
I think they'll be in Western Australia one day, Sydney the next. Yeah.
Yeah. She said she wanted to fly into. You ready? I'll tell you her itinerary. 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks. Fly into Sydney, drive from Sydney to Melbourne, drive from Melbourne back up to Canberra, fly from Canberra to Perth, and then Perth to Brisbane, and then fly home via New Zealand. What? I'm like,
that's the most insane thing I've ever heard. Yeah, nah.
Yeah. That's what I said to her, yeah, nah. And so I said to her, that's the same as you doing this. And I told her the exact same route.
Yeah.
Flying into New York, driving to Florida, flying across to LA. And she's like, holy crap. And I said to her, this is more, and you'll see better things if you do just the East Coast in this way. So I give her an itinerary. And I even mapped it out on the map for her so she can see the map and how many. I changed it from kilometers to miles, and I did everything like that.
That was nice.
And so she thought, well, that's what she said too. She goes, oh, this is really nice. Yeah. This is a nice guy. Anyway, she said, she's looking at the map and she's like, I understand we're going to drive like from Sydney up to Brisbane, and I understand the coast roads, the beautiful views and stuff. But why are we before Byron Bay? Why are we ducking into this place called Casino for? Like, you got us ducking into Casino. Why is that? I go, well, that's where I live.
Yeah, I'm here.
And she goes, you're putting yourself on my itinerary. I'm like, yes I am. So
number one destination.
So. Exactly. And so I thought to myself, at best is that, they'll come over and I might get a night of a bit of fun. Ooh. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Best case scenario. But then she's like, you're a really nice guy. Have you got Snapchat? Blah, blah, blah. Then we started talking daily.
Ooh.
2 weeks after we started talking daily or so, she messaged me and she said, this sounds a bit stalkerish, but I'm going to come over by myself.
Ooh.
And I'm coming over in 2 weeks' time for 2 weeks.
Were you like,
I've gone, holy crap. So she flew over to Australia and we had a 2-week first date.
That's amazing.
There you go.
And was it everything you hoped it would be? Well, I'm guessing yes, because you're here married. Now.
Well, then, I'm married now. Yeah. We're married. I come over here in 2021 on the K1 visa, the fiance visa. You know that 90-day fiance. Yes,
so you literally had 90 days to get married.
We had 90 days to get married,
and now you're just
we got married.
Is that?
I'm on a green card, and I'm in the process at the moment of going from the 2-year conditional green card to a 10-year green card.
Yes, I did that. I did the 2 to the 10, and you have to do the whole process again and submit all your evidence.
Tell me
it's insane. And I just this year got my citizenship. Mm-hmm. So that was a huge moment.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
so how long have you been here for then?
10 years.
I haven't listened to all of your podcasts. How many?
10
years?
10 years.
Holy good night. Wow.
So, finally did it. I think I was about 5 years into my 10-year visa. And I thought, you know what? I think I'm just going to go for it. Had I have had to give up my Australian, I wouldn't have done it. But because I could keep dual, I was like, okay.
So dual, 100%.
Yeah.
People ask me that too. They say, Craig, you're going to become a citizen. I go, if I do, it's going to be a dual.
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah, I ain't giving up my Aussie stuff.
Can you imagine going back to Australia as a foreigner? That would
fear.
Couldn't do it.
No fear, because at the end of the day as well, Amanda, as we all know, it is just a marriage, so it could end tomorrow. It could never end. You know what I mean? You don't know these things. Yeah. You don't know what's coming up in your life or in your future. So I would never say.
Australia's always never say my
never.
home. This is my life here, but 100%. Australia's my home. I had to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So, that's how it all come about. That's how I'm here now.
Have kids?
So I'm one of those 90-day fiancés, and no, not with my wife.
Okay.
I've got kids to a previous marriage, and they're in Australia still. So
okay,
yeah.
Wow, it sounds like
so that's all
it was meant to be. What are the odds we'd both stop at that little geocache?
That's the thing, exactly right. What are the odds of that?
Yeah.
That was where, and not only that, it didn't hit it. We didn't hit it. We hit it off, but we didn't start it there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like
even more
we
cool.
met there, didn't start there. It didn't start for another 12 months.
Yeah, the fact that she
So
stalked you, found you, like you said, you both went your separate ways. The odds are that you could never
That's
have
right.
seen each other again. Amazing.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
Exactly
really
right.
cool.
So yeah,
do you know?
because I didn't do her. So sorry.
No, you go.
I was going to say, because I didn't look her up, she looked me up.
It's even better.
I didn't know what her geocaching name was to look her up, but she knew that I was the Australian. And see, my geocaching name is the Aussie geocacher. See my shells, so it's not hard to do. And I've got a lot of social media stuff out there too when it comes to geocaching world. So,
well, that was how we met. It was on TikTok.
Yeah, you and I, we met on TikTok.
Like, so random.
On the TikTok, they say.
Yeah, because I think I'd only just recently got on before you reached out. Like, I had not been on long.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I had
I knew that.
Yeah, I had no clue what I was doing. I mean, to be honest, I still don't. Yeah. But I'm winging it. But I was going to tell you that the best housewarming gift I ever got was a geocache.
Really?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
So my friend Chrissa, she was the first friend I had here in America, and when we bought our house, she actually put a geocache on the guardrail just outside the house and called it Lady's Lair. It's still there to this day. We've moved house since then.
Really?
Yeah, and a funny story was that our neighbour called the police because they thought like there was drug deals going on at this guardrail. And the police came out.
It happens.
Yeah, and the police came out and literally left a note on the log saying whatever, like it's just a game. Like it was actually funny.
Yeah. No, that happens. That happens a lot here. And what happens here as well a lot is the bomb squad gets called to some of these geocaches.
Oh, because it looks like a little container or whatever,
pipe bomb or container or something like. Yeah. And so people are encouraged, and I encourage people as well, if they're going to hide a cache, to actually put the word geocache on the actual container itself, on the outside of the container, if they can. So a police would look at it and go, "Oh, it's just
straight
a geocache.
up, yeah,
that's fine."
That's cool.
Yeah.
Have you had a good week?
This week, not too bad. Just getting along. Well, so with when it comes to geocaching, we have this thing called GIFF, GIFF, Geocaching International Film Festival. Now, with my YouTube channel and that sort of stuff, I do enjoy the filmmaking side of geocaching, and so they have this thing whereby. You can submit your geocaching videos, and if they're selected, you go into the finalists, and then they have events throughout the entire world to showcase those finalist videos. Yeah. And so I started my very first geocaching video like that when I was in Australia, in Sydney.
Yeah.
And I was a finalist then as well, which I was excited about. That was really cool. Yeah, that happened in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, and and so I did that. Like that was like 5 or 6 years ago that I did that one, and then I did another one the following year. So this year I put in another one, and I got selected again. So this week they've started. Yeah, they just started last night. They started the actual film festival for the next week and a half, next 10 days. So yeah, I'm getting messages all over the world now.
That's cool.
Saying, I really enjoyed your film. This is what I like about, this, that, and the other. So that's really cool. Yeah.
And then what happens if you win?
So that's what's happened. So by being a finalist, because some geocaching does cost money if you want to become a premium member. It is free to begin with if you want. Yeah. And you can always say free if you like. There's not a problem with that. But if you want to become a premium member and open up more caching availability for you, more tutorials, that sort of stuff, then I think it's like $35 a year USD.
I'd download the app and I'd remember paying.
Yeah, that's right. So it's like $30 a year or something like that. So if that's the case, then you become a premium member. And what was I going on then with the premium?
What happens if you win?
That's right. If you win,
yes.
So by being thank you for remembering. My brain goes.
Paying attention.
You are. You're a good host. So what happens is if you become a finalist, they give you 1 year's premium as a finalist. Now, if you win itself, you get 5 years premium if you win.
Nice.
So
and the exposure, like you said, you've had messages from all over the world. Yeah, that's really cool.
Exactly. And my YouTube channel sort of goes up in terms of subscriptions and stuff too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. You're
So,
doing
yeah.
well on TikTok.
Yeah.
How long have you been on?
I've been on TikTok now, probably for about 2 years.
Okay.
And how I got started, my TikTok is really leveled out in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
So when I first got on TikTok, I was mostly just geocaching only. That's it. And it was one viral video. And Amanda, this video, it still gets views to this day. And it's like 18 months old. Yeah.
Like, what are you up to?
So
like,
at
how
the
many
moment,
views on that one?
On that one video, over 8.5 million on
What?
that one video.
Okay, that's
yeah,
crazy.
I know, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. So literally overnight, after about a month of being on TikTok, overnight I went from maybe 1 or 100 or 200 subscribers, and I went to 25,000 subscribers, literally overnight.
Yeah.
And so once you get over the 10,000 mark, you can monetize and all that sort of stuff, and rake in a whole 2 to 3 cents a day. Like,
that's what cracks me up. Yeah.
I know. So that happened to begin with, and I've just been going steady, and the subscribers actually go up and down. You gain 3 and lose 2.
Yeah.
It varies with TikTok. TikTok's very strange like that.
It is so bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, and so my TikTok as well, it's evolved. So I've gone from just geocaching itself, only geocaching, to more of an Aussie in America. You know, I feel like it's more, I can get more videos out there by doing an Aussie things in America and what I can just doing a geocache. And geocaches is all over the world. So this makes no difference that I'm an Aussie in America doing a geocache.
Right. And the Americans lap this up. Like, they seem to love our accent and love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the more comments you get on your TikTok videos, the more it's going to push it out to other people.
Right.
At the same time, as people are commenting, if you're typing away a comment, type, then your video is still normally scrolling through. They don't pause the video and then type a comment.
Exactly.
They just start commenting. And so you're getting 4, 5, 6 views.
Oh, it's not just one per
comment.
person?
No. That's not how it works. See? So that's So therefore, the algorithm feels like this person's getting a lot of views, a lot of watch time. So we'll keep this person sort of pumping. So So your questions, the way you do your questions and stuff, is really cool.
And I'm not going to lie,
you've really found your niche.
Yeah, I do something that I know is going to be a little bit provoking. Yeah.
Oh no,
you know what I mean?
Provoking's good.
Like, for example, that one about why do Americans love Walmart? I mean, I knew that half of them, everyone's like, bloody hate Walmart. But I was like, everyone's going to be commenting on this. Like, we hate Walmart. We hate it. Yeah. It's like I'm pushing the buttons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. Because when you push those buttons in America, they will come back. They will talk. They're not afraid.
Close their mouths.
They're not afraid.
Exactly.
They can't. It's so good.
Well, I just did that one about, do Americans really open carry or something? And straight away, that was like, whoa.
That's huge. That's a huge topic here.
Yes, and everyone was like, yes. And then I want to say 100 stitches of everyone like, we would open carry a tank if we could. It just went on and on and on. Like the most random people, like ones I never would have pictured carrying a gun. Like little innocent, like old ladies were just like, I'd carry a, like bazooka if I could. Or yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they do enjoy this. That's my right. That's my Second Amendment right. And look, I'll be honest with you. I've lost friends over this, and I don't argue back. I've never argued back, but I've lost friends because I'm Australian, and and they ask me a question. They normally come and ask me a question about. They say, "How's Australia going with your Second Amendment?" Firstly, they don't understand we don't have that, but like the amendments and shit. But anyway,
did you even know we had a constitution?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously you're a police.
Come on, I'm in the police force.
I was going to say, I had no idea we had a constitution until this whole thing in Australia, the referendum about, the recent one that they just did. That was the first time I've heard the word constitution in regards to Australia. And I was like, where have I been?
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Because the Australian constitution more regulates the actual parliament itself.
Right.
It doesn't regulate the people or citizens.
Okay.
Whereas here it regulates more citizens than it does the parliament.
Yes.
But so going back to their Second Amendment and stuff as well, a lot of them are very proud of being able, even if they don't have a gun, but they're proud to be able to have a gun. It's their right to have a gun, and so Amanda, what blows a lot of Americans, and this happened last night, a lot of their minds as well, is random breath testing in Australia. You bring
That's
it up.
have to
I'm
be a
telling you,
question.
next time.
Let me write this one down.
Write that one down, because when people say to me here, they ask me, oh, you're a police officer in Australia, what was that like? This, that, I go, well, I'll start. They'll say, what was it like? And I go, it's not too bad. It's pretty easy, this, the other. And then I'll go, do you want me to blow your mind? And they go, yeah, sure. I go, I'm a police officer in Australia. I can pull anyone over I want for nothing more than
no cause.
Testing,
no
cause, testing out, see if they've got alcohol in their breath, and checking their driver's license. They go, what?
Yeah, they'd be so insulted. That's how right.
They're so insulted. And they're like, that would never happen here. I go, but you know what, though? The drink driving statistics and alcohol-related injuries in that went down. It's funny that, because more people, when they're out drinking of a night, for instance, on a Friday night, and you're partying with your friends, you turn around and go, oh, shit, I'm going to drive. I remember there used to be an RBT line, around the corner 2 weeks ago. Oh, I won't have that last one.
Yeah, it's true.
You make that conscious decision. Whereas here, and I'll tell you now, I won't name them because I'm ashamed of this. It's funny, but it's not. In new cars, you've got that lane assist.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where it keeps you in your lane. Yeah.
I have that.
You got to press the button in order to activate it. Well, the friend of mine, she calls it her drink drive assist.
Shut up.
So she pushes that, and so she can drive home a little bit intoxicated, and it keeps her within the lane so she doesn't get pulled over by police.
Ironically, I feel like it makes me look drunk when I sometimes put that on and it keeps swerving. I'm like, I'm going to get pulled over because I'm going to look like I'm drunk. Wow. That's
So there you go.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, random breath testing.
Wow.
Random breath testing. Tell that to your American friends, and put that on your next TikTok as well.
And I asked someone what a booze bus was, and they're like, "Oh, is it a bus that drives you home, drives you around to the pubs?" Yeah. I'm like, "No, no, the exact opposite." Wow.
Although that'd be a good company name in Australia, the Booze Bus.
It would.
Which does drive you around and do pub crawls.
Yeah.
They're just saying, there you go. You could actually call a business the Booze Bus.
I like it.
And it's a pub crawl bus. That's not too bad. See?
Very cool.
Come up with business names already.
I like it. So I had a great week. I went to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I went on a cruise with a 911 operator. She's been on the podcast a couple of times, Chrissa. She's the one that made the little geocache for me. But we had a great time. We stopped at 2 ports. It was Cabo and Ensenada. Have you been down there?
Mm-hmm. I have been to Mexico. I walked across the border with a friend of mine, Joshua.
Hey, Josh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so much fun to walk across the border. We were in Yuma in Arizona.
Okay.
And literally I was at the wall, how they built the wall. I'm standing I touched the wall. I put my hand across the wall and everything. It was fun. We walked across the border down there. Easy as. Walking across, not a problem.
What about coming back?
I didn't even check out passports.
What? You didn't need a passport?
Yeah, not going there. Oh, I did need one, but not going into Mexico. They didn't check anything.
Literally just come in. We don't care who comes in.
I mean, they had machine guns standing there and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, wow. No. And but coming back. Normally, I've had issues coming back into the US, even with a green card.
Yeah.
I've been, one time I came back from Australia and I had my green card with me. I got pulled into the office in LA to get questioned, and the main question was, you come here on a green, like a K1 visa, you've got married, why didn't your wife go back to Australia?
Are you kidding me?
For the vacation? No. And I said, well, I went back to finish work stuff.
Wow.
Like, that's what I went back for, is for work. She's not going to come back for that. Australia's a fair way away, and it costs money to go back to Australia. So, she's not going to come back for that. She's working here. Where is she now? Well, she's at home in New Jersey. Like, she's been working nonstop.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's where I'm heading. Like, if you have a look, I've got an oncoming flight from LA to Newark.
That is harsh.
Yeah. I've had harsh coming back in.
I've had similar experiences, like the same thing. Well, I came back in once and my green card had expired. And although I knew it, but I had a letter and I didn't have the letter on me.
Okay.
You know how it says, this will be extended, whatever. And I was just like, I don't have the letter. And anyway, I'm sure they could have
Yeah.
looked it up in the system, but they just had to make it a whole
Yep.
thing, and then I missed my ongoing flight. But anyway, I finally
Mhm.
got my US passport and tested it out.
Oh,
So yeah, on
yes.
this trip,
Yeah.
I got to
Yes.
use it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I was like thinking, will it
Yeah,
make
that's
it
cool.
easier now to travel? So hopefully it will. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah. Well,
wait
it
to
should.
test it
It should.
fully. This was just like literally, what do you call them? Like land and sea crossings, you know.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, yeah.
lot
In the
easier
port, yeah.
than
A port,
flying. But
it is. Definitely,
yeah.
definitely
And I
is.
also went to Disneyland. We had like a massive
What?
layover. Do I sound American? Layover.
Mhm.
We got in at like 7:30 in the morning, and then our flight was at 8 p.m. So yeah, we ended up going to
Yeah.
Disneyland for the day.
That's
Yeah, have
cool.
you been?
That's cool, yeah. Not to Disneyland. I've been to a lot of see my wife here, she works for Six Flags.
Oh, that's so
The theme
cool.
parks, yeah.
Do you do roller
And
coasters?
she yeah, I
I
love
can't bloody
anything
stand
like
them.
that sort of stuff.
Oh,
Really, I love all that sort of thing. So I've been to several different Six
yeah.
Flags here in the US because she works for the corporate
Oh,
industry. So
love that.
she flies all over the US anyway with the theme parks, and so yeah, and so obviously she's then got other things. So we went to Orlando in Florida, and there was Universal
Yeah, that's
Studios.
cool.
Been to there as well. That was really cool.
Yeah, I
Down
like
there,
that.
Universal Studios. So yeah, been a few theme parks here and whatnot too. I mean, look, are they better than Dreamworld and SeaWorld and Wet
Right.
and Wild? Like,
Someone was asking me, like,
I
do
don't
you
know.
have like similar thing to Disneyland? And I'm like, yeah, we've got Movie World. And they're like,
Yeah,
what? And I'm like,
yeah.
sort of like,
SeaWorld, Dreamworld, Wet Wild, yeah.
what about that one? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've got our own stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
we do. And I sell them as well. I go, but they're all in one place. They go, what? I go, yeah.
yeah.
You don't have one in every state. I'm like, no, we've got
No,
just in
literally
pretty
just
much just the
one.
Gold Coast.
It's sort of weird because our countries are very similar sized, you know, like excluding Alaska and Hawaii. But
And Hawaii. Yeah.
the population is so massively different. Like Australia's at like what, 25-ish?
26 million or something like that. And then here we're at 336 million.
Yeah. So it's hard to picture like that many people. Like imagine that many people in Australia. It would be
Exactly.
It probably couldn't work because they're all on the coast. That would be insane.
No, exactly. So New Jersey itself is, I tell people as well, New Jersey is quite a small state in size.
Yeah.
But we've pretty much got almost the same amount of population that we do in the entire Australia.
I can't even get my head around that.
New Jersey is the most populated, densely state in the US.
Know that.
So there you go.
I love a random fact.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Random fact for you.
Yeah.
And if you think you can drive in New Jersey and not get a finger from someone, then you're mistaken.
Right.
New Jersey's, people say, I know, I'll be honest as well, and I asked you before, can I sort of say a few bad words on this? People call New Jersey the asshole of America or the armpit of America.
I did not know this.
Yeah, haven't you heard that?
Never.
Yeah, they do. 100% they do.
Wow.
But guess what? New Jersey, they love that. They like, you know what? If you don't like it, then get
Embrace
out.
it.
Leave us alone. They embrace it. They love being called like the asshole of America. But Amanda, I will say this to all the listeners as well, especially Americans, they'll understand this. New Jersey people, they're not nice, but they are kind.
Aww.
As opposed to California, who are nice but not kind. Now, let me give you an example. You're broken down with a flat tire and you don't know how to change your tire. If you're in California, they'll stop and they'll go, oh my goodness, you poor thing, you've broken down. And look at your flat tire. That's not very nice. Oh, well, hopefully it goes well for you, and they will drive off.
Mm-hmm.
So they're nice, but they're not kind.
Right.
In New Jersey, New Jersey, they'll stop and they'll go, you're a freaking idiot. You don't even know how to change your tire. Who did you grow up with? Did you even have a father? Here, move over and I'll change it for you.
Aww.
See, so that's why here in New Jersey, they're kind, but they're not nice about it. See, that's the difference. That's the difference I've found.
I would much rather New Jersey. Yeah. Like I'd rather someone just like, I feel like that's a bit Australian, like you just straight up and how you talk to people.
It is. Straight up.
Yeah, I actually had a flat tire in Vancouver, Washington. So, had not been here long, I bought this piece of crap car for $1,500 and I get a flat tire. I'm right outside someone's house, busy-ish road. Not one person stops. People are walking their dogs or whatever. I'm struggling to get this thing off. Like, I cannot do it. Finally, someone comes out their house and I'm like, oh, they're kind. They're going to come help. Literally got in his car and drove off. Didn't even say, you're all right. I was like, what the hell is happening? That was my first
They probably said,
culture shock.
excuse me, can you just
Can
move
you
up
move
the road
your
a minute?
car
I've got to get
down?
around
Yeah.
you.
I was like, not one single person helped. And I was like, if I was in Australia, every single person that was walking past would have been like, do you need a hand? Like, what can I do? I probably would have had a
100%.
crowd of people lifting the car up
100%.
and like
Yeah.
switching out the wheel. Yeah.
Yeah. One of them's name had to have been Jack, just saying.
Had to have been. But it was crazy. Anyway, I have some American words for you.
Yes,
I want
yes.
to see
Hit
if
me.
you've forgotten your Aussie roots. So I'm going to tell you the American
not
word
at
and
all.
you're going to tell me the Aussie word. Okay.
Oh, geez, this is okay.
They should be easy, but I don't know. You've been here 5 years. Okay. Number one.
Well, no, I've only been here 3 years now. So
Oh, mate, this should be easy then. A pickup truck.
A ute.
Yes. A liquor store.
A bottle-o.
Yes. Mickey D's.
Macca's.
Yeah.
Come on.
Weed whacker.
A whippersnipper.
Yes. The hood. Hood of a car.
The hood of a car. A bonnet.
Yep. Trunk of a car.
Boot.
Piece of cake. A shopping cart.
A trolley. That one gets my mother-in-law all the time. She cannot get trolley business.
Yeah,
anyway.
I still refer to it as trolley. I mean, I still refer to all these words. Probably the only one I don't use this next one, gas.
Petrol?
Yeah, I probably now say gas.
Yeah, I say gas now too. It's just easier sometimes.
And I would say probably, sometimes I say
convert.
servo, but 9 times out of 10 I probably just say gas station because it's just everyone gets me.
I'm the same.
Pacifier.
Yep. Dummy.
Yeah. And finally,
spit in the dummy. Yeah.
Finally, cotton candy.
Oh, fairy floss.
Yeah.
Fairy floss. That's one of my mother-in-law's favorites right there.
Really?
I said to her, because I said to her, I said, what's that? And I always know these things. I go, what's that? And she said, oh, that's cotton candy. And I can't even say her accent because she's Brooklyn, New York. So she's got that real thick New York accent. I love her accent.
Yeah.
Cotton candy. And I'm like, no, we call it fairy floss. She's like, what?
Oh, I love it.
And the other thing she doesn't get either, the other one she doesn't get, which you didn't mention, is torch.
Yes.
They call it a flashlight.
Okay, so this is our favourite show.
Because
I know this about you.
Survivor.
I bloody love that show. And everyone thinks when I say torch that I'm going around with one of the Survivor torches.
Yes.
And I'm like, can you grab a torch or something?
Exactly.
Like, I'm walking around. Like, yeah. It's so funny.
Because I was talking to my mother-in-law. How mine came about was my wife, she had something in her throat, like a little white lump or something in her throat. Anyway, she said to me, like, my wife being the way she is, she always thinks the worst. So she's like, I think I've got cancer, blah, blah, blah. Have a look. So she's one of those. Yeah. So I've got the phone out with the torch on the phone. I'm looking through and I'm like, it's a little bit red, but it's not a problem. Gargle some salt water, right? That's it. Live. So push comes to shove, I was telling my mother-in-law, and I said, your daughter, she's such a hypochondriac, blah, blah, blah. I said, I put the torch down her throat, and she's like, what? You burnt my daughter's throat? You burnt her throat? I go, no.
Like one of those fire eaters now.
Like a fire eater or a match. You put a matchstick down, the torch or the match down her throat. Like
that's hysterical. That's the best one I've ever heard.
Yeah. It's
wow.
And this is a daily occurrence, Amanda. I'm not sure with you, but to me, still to this day, I get it all the time. Like, last night, for instance, I'm at a random bar with some friends and I'm starting to talk, and then other people are listening and they go, where are you from? Yes. And then because I'm from Australia, all of a sudden it's like, oh, Steve Irwin and all this sort of stuff. Like they're drawn to Australia. They love Australia.
And don't you find, like you said, you can make friends so easily. You can chat to anyone. You could be alone, walk into a bar and just ask for a glass of water and you'd have like 10 people around you. Like, oh my God, where are you from? Like, it's that easy here.
After they understand, after they get the fact that it's actually water, and I've had to say that too. Yeah. Well, I say sometimes I'll say, oh, what beer do you have on tap? They go, what? Yeah. I go, what beer do you have on tap? And they go, huh? I go, beer. What beer do you have on tap? Like,
yeah, it's like speaking a different language half the time. And it's like always
oregano.
Oh, right.
Oregano is another one. Oregano.
Yes.
Oregano. Aluminum and aluminium.
Oh my gosh.
Like there's thousands.
There's so many.
It's insane. Yeah. And even I say to them, really, it's spelled aluminium. That's the way it's correctly spelled. Mm-hmm. You bastardized the language and took out a letter, so that's why it's aluminum for you.
Yes.
And they're like, really? I go, yeah. I said, it's the same with color. Color's got a U in it, but not in America.
Take it out.
You know?
That's weird. And neighbor.
Because they're Americans.
Yeah. Exactly. Like half the time I'll ask
exactly
these people
right.
why they do it, and they're like, I don't know. Like,
They don't know.
They don't know.
All they say is we broke away from the British. We won that war. Like that's what
Exactly.
they say.
That is so true.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, yeah.
What other things do you find weird here? What about the food?
The
bread?
food. Don't give me so.
Amanda,
I've put. I can talk in metric. I've put on 15 kilos in the last 12 months, and I haven't eaten anything different.
No.
You know, well, a quick bread story for you. When I first moved over here, because I'm the cook, I do the cooking, I do all that sort of stuff. Right, my wife doesn't do it. She's hopeless. So I went to the store, the grocery store, and the supermarket. I went there, got my loaf of bread, got a few things as well. Put the loaf of bread in the freezer, right? Because that's what we do in Australia. Because there's only the two of us. So we want it to last. She's like, what do you put in the freezer for? I'm like,
that's what you do.
Because it's got to last. She goes, no. She goes, she always says, ask my mum if you don't believe me. That's what she says. Because I believe her mum. So I did. I asked her mum, and her mum goes, what did you do that for? Like, I go, it's got to last. The bread here lasts 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks just sitting on the bench. I don't trust it.
Like after a few days, I'm like, that bread has to go. Like it's been sitting out for too long.
But it doesn't go in. There's no mold. Baker's Delight, Amanda, in Australia, that bread lasts like 2 hours. Let's be honest. You take that bread home, and if you don't use the whole, it's gone. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, I missed
because
the
there's
cheesy
zero
white scrolls. Remember those?
Well, guess what I got the other day in the mail from Amazon? I got some Vegemite.
Really? You can get it on.
It cost me $12 freaking dollars, but I got some Vegemite.
But worth it.
Actually, another quick story for you. You'll love this one as well. So I reached out to a few of my friends in Australia, and they said to me, what do you miss most? I go, like, you meat pies and blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. And fish and chips as well, and seafood baskets, decent ones like that. Can't get it here. Anyway, one of my friends says to me, well, what's your address? So I gave him my address. Unbeknownst to me, a month later, this package turns up, and it's a soft feeling package. And I'm like, what the heck? Chicken salt, Amanda, in big plastic bags of chicken salt.
I'm so jealous.
And it made it through customs. But it made it through customs as well. I was so proud. It's like it's like yellow cocaine for us. Us Australians. So I've got chicken salt here at home.
Wow.
No, I've got chicken salt here at home now.
That's amazing. So someone sent me some hundreds and thousands. Because I've been talking about fairy bread, and so I went to this Halloween party, and I took some fairy bread, and it was mixed reactions. Like the kids were eating it, like this is weird, like tastes good, but why'd you put butter on it? Like it's sort of that threw them off.
I was going to say, what's your thoughts now, Amanda? This blew my mind. It was only about a month ago I found this out. Yeah. That Americans do not butter their bread for sandwiches at all.
Like I'm like, what if you just have jam?
That blew my mind.
Jam. They're like, no butter. I'm like, it's
no butter.
That's just weird. I couldn't imagine it.
I'll be honest with you. I looked after a friend of mine's son the other day, and he wanted a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for school. Yeah. I'm like, okay, no worries. So, and they said, don't make it with butter, Craig. Like, I'm like, oh, okay.
Craig.
So I'm spreading it So I'm spreading the peanut butter on one side, and the peanut butter's freaking hard. Yeah. I'm like, how does this spread properly? And it was tearing the bread. I'm like, this is ridiculous, But again, they don't put the peanut butter in the fridge here. They put it in the cupboard.
That's true.
I'm like, it says it on the back, refrigerate after opening. Come on, people.
Like all these things I put in the fridge, and everyone's like, why is it?
You mean
tomato sauce?
You mean tomato sauce?
Tomato sauce. All these things, I'm like, this has to go in the fridge. They're like, we've never put it in the fridge. I'm like, that's disgusting. Yeah. Well, even mayonnaise people leave out. I'm like, ew.
I know. But Amanda, what's with? Okay, here you go. I've got a question for you now too. What's your opinion? How much Americans love their ranch?
I don't even get it. I'm pretty sure I did a TikTok of this. Like they put it on, like they'll dip their pizza in it, like
pizza ranch.
And everywhere you go, like every restaurant, it just automatically comes with it. And you find when you order, it's like a whole affair. Like it's like 1,000 questions. Like, and what salad? What dressing do you want on that? Blue cheese. I'm just like, holy shit! In Australia, it's like, I'll get the chicken parma. Done. There's no other questions.
That's it. I'm done.
It's simply done.
So New Jersey as a state is classed as the diner state. It's got the most diners
I
of
love
anywhere
diners.
in the world.
Yeah.
And the diners here are magnificent. Like they're the big silver diners, like
Yes,
the
we got one
around
here
the
and I love it.
outside, you know.
And like little inside, they got little coat racks and things, like where the patrons sit, like old school. Yes.
And what you see in the movies and TV shows, that's what's here in Jersey. Jersey diners are insane. But in saying that, their menus like a Bible.
Yes.
Like it's just ridiculous how many pages
That's
there are. And as
give
you
me
say,
5 choices, you're done. Yeah.
I'll have the meatloaf. I'll have the meatloaf. Oh, first of all, what soup do you want with that? What salad do you want? What dressing do you want with the salad? What sides do you want?
It's 80 questions.
What drink do you want? Holy good night. It's overpowering. Like it's a lot. You're like, oh, just whatever. And then you pick the first thing that comes to your mind. Like,
this is me at drive-thrus. I get so nervous because I'm like, can't like look at everything. There's too many choices. And in the end, I'm like, just end up choosing the first thing I see. And then I get it. I'm like, I would never have actually ordered this. Had I have like looked at the menu at home, never would have ordered it.
Even then, and then you got the struggle with the accent as well.
Oh, and
at the drive-thru. Hence why I have the app. I use the app.
That's
so
brilliant.
I can calmly take my time, and I get points.
Yeah.
But calmly take my time doing the app itself, and then I go there and I go, Craig, order for Craig.
No, that's brilliant because I can't tell you how many times a meal has come, and now my first question is, what did I order? Because I always know that I've said something, it's got lost in translation, and I've ended up with this. And they're like, oh, you ordered that? And I'm like, huh. And they're like, did you? And I said, not at all, but okay. Like, I'm willing to give it a go.
Yeah.
I roll with it.
Yeah.
It's great. Like, I ordered a pecan pie and got a bacon pie. Yes, like things like that. Like, I've got the most crazy concoctions.
See, that's the other thing. Pecan. Some people say, that's a pecan, because a pecan is like a urine in a can.
Yes.
It's like, no, it's that's a toilet. A pecan's a toilet. I'm like, no, it's the pecan nut.
Yes.
So
lost in translation.
So many things. And to this day, I'm not sure with you, Amanda, you've been here 10 years or 10 plus, but 3 years down the track, I'm still with my wife. I'm still finding words that she didn't know about.
Yes, every day. Every day.
Here's one of her favorite sayings.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one of her favorite sayings of all times. Give it a crack.
Give it a crack.
Give it a crack.
Give it a bloody crack.
Just do it. Give it a crack.
Done. Yeah.
Just give it a crack. Yeah. She loves it. She's never heard it before in her life.
And when she came
over, it's not an American thing. They don't know. I'm telling you, I'm teaching you things too. See, so when she came over to Australia, and I said something to her, I said, whatever, I said to her, you drive. We're in a country town. You drive for the first time the other side of the car, the other side of the road. And she's like, oh, no, I'm too scared. I go, just give it a crack. She goes, what? I said, just give it a crack. She said, what does that mean? I said, give it a go. Like, just do it. She's like, I love that word. I love that saying. Well, then about a week later, she met my uncle and my cousins and that. And I've got a younger cousin, and it was a Christmas time, and so he got like a bow and arrow set. Yeah. And so he said to Alana, he goes, here, you give it a go. And when I say young, he's like 5. Yeah. So he's like, you give it a go. And she's like, oh, that's so cute. She goes, oh, no, it's yours. He goes, just give it a crack. And she's like, oh, my God, you say it too. She melted.
That's so cute.
Melted. Just give it a crack.
Oh.
So you have to do a TikTok on that too.
Oh,
give it a crack.
Let me write this one down too.
Yeah, you got to write that one down. Look at the. See, I'm giving you a lot of stuff.
I should actually ask like some Americans, like say some Aussie things and be like, "What does this mean?" And then see how they go.
What does this mean? Yeah,
that's a cool one.
Yeah,
like
exactly right. What does this mean? Yeah, give it a crack.
Again.
Give it a crack.
I bloody love it. So I've got a question for you, and I do think I know the answer to this. How many states have you been to? Now I'm going to go with 39 or 40. I was a little confused because I couldn't tell if your 39th was Minnesota and your 40th was Wisconsin, or the 39th was Wisconsin. Am I right?
The first one.
39.
So 39th was with Minnesota, and my 40th was Wisconsin. Yeah. So 40.
That's really
40.
Impressive.
I've been to the big ones that normally people wouldn't go to last. So I've been to Hawaii and I've been to Alaska as well. So I've been to those two.
That's amazing.
It's just the inland. So I've got to do. They call it the Bible Belt down south with like Alabama and those and the Carolinas. And then of course I've got the right upstate like Maine and Massachusetts, Vermont, that sort of area.
But they're so close
and then I've
to you.
got the North and South Dakotas.
You should have 100%.
Not really.
Come on. It's just up
the
road.
Not really. Well, it's like 12 hours
it's
drive.
Up the road, mate. Yeah.
Just up the road, mate. But then I got the North and South Dakotas as well. So I got the Dakotas to do
cool.
too. So, but apparently, here's another tip for you. A very random tip for you. If people are doing the whole 50 states, if you leave North Dakota as your last state to attend, and you message the Visit North Dakota website and say, I'm visiting and it's my last state, they'll give you a prize. They'll give you like a souvenir.
You might just have to lie and do that. I'm not going to. I don't want to one-up you, but I have done all 50, which is really
cool. Oh, you have?
And my very last one was Hawaii. But, of course, when I go back to North Dakota, it will be, of course, North Dakota.
That's right.
That's what I'll tell them. That was my story.
You have to tell them.
Yeah.
And you say it with an Australian accent, and they love it. They really do. And I use. I'm not sure about you, Amanda, but people say to me, "Oh, you're going to lose the Australian accent." I said, "Hell no!"
Mine is stronger than ever.
Things.
I'm not even kidding. I'll speak to people back home. They're like, "You've never sounded this Aussie. Like, you sound more Australian than ever." I'm like, I don't know how, because I'm literally talking to Americans all day long. Yeah, but I feel like I have to enunciate every word. Like, I have to slow it down, and I'm probably speaking trying to speak clearly. That it's now becoming Aussified. Yeah.
Yeah, but I find that I pronounce things more Australian to get more free 100%. Stuff here as well.
I can't even tell you the amount of
upgrades with
stuff.
Cars.
Yeah.
We're
like little rock stars
here. Is it actually? Yeah. When they always say about Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin's the biggest thing here.
And I'm always like, my mate Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, my mate Steve. And they always say to me, "Oh, have you been to the zoo?" I'm like, actually, I have, because I did.
I did too. It was cool.
And it was really cool there. And again, just a quick story. I went to the zoo. First time I went to the zoo, I went there with my now wife on the 2-week first date, as I spoke about before. I took her to the Australian Zoo because she loves Steve Irwin, the whole lot. So we're sitting there in the theatre before the show starts, and they do the warm up. They go, "Okay, who's here from Queensland? Who's here from New South Wales? Who's here from Japan, New Zealand?" And then they leave it to the last place. They go, "Okay, the most patriotic country in the world." And my wife's looking at me, she goes, "Everyone thinks the same thing." I go, "Yep, we do."
Yes.
And then she goes, "The good old US of A." And then this family of 5 stood up and went, "Yeah!" and screamed it. And she's like, "Oh my God." I go, that's USA.
Yeah.
This is the rest of the world. That's USA. And that's
you can pick when you travel. Like, I've done a lot of traveling to Europe and whatever. You can pick the Yank, as I got in trouble for saying, for calling everyone the Yank. Everyone was so insulted by that comment.
Yeah.
Isn't that true? Like, I've always known American as Yanks. Like, that's what it is.
Everywhere around the world is the same, on the same page, and that is everyone in America is a Yank, right? Because I said to my wife as well, I said, because every American car that comes to Australia, we see a big American car like a Cadillac, and it's a Yank tank. We call them Yank tanks. 100%. And she's like, "Really?" I'm like, yeah, 100%. So everywhere in the world thinks all Americans are Yanks, but apparently you can only call them a Yank if they're like a Yankee Doodle Dandy. In other words, it's part of that one separate part or belief, religion or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a very small amount of Americans.
Oh yeah, I got
themselves
told
Yanks.
off like on TikTok. Like, I got put in my place. Like, you will. It was fighting words if you're down south and.
Yeah. Because they're down south. Again, it's more the northern regions that are called Yanks, because they're the rebellious ones. The ones that come through the revolution. Yeah. The Revolutionary War. So those sort of people are the Yanks.
As I say, no press is bad
Yankee
press.
Doodle Dandy.
You know what I mean? Like, as long as they're talking,
100%.
Who cares what they say?
100%. Exactly. I fully agree with you. Fully agree with you. So there you go.
Any other cultural things that you've found here? Like, what about the chocolate? I mean, do you eat chocolate?
I don't. I'll be honest with you.
I don't here, but I did.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm exactly the same as you. I don't here. I did back there. It's terrible here.
It's so waxy and over sweet or something. It's just not creamy.
Oh, there's it is. There's only 10% cocoa. In Australia, it's like 25%.
And you know how they have a glass and a half of full cream milk in every 200 gram block, whatever they say in Australia. Nothing like that here.
Yeah. I do miss Milo, and I miss Tim Tams.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I have seen Tim Tams randomly in some Target stores, just every now and again.
Targets, yes. Yeah. And some CVS stores as well sometimes have them too. So
yeah, I always stock up whenever I see Aussie stuff. Even if I don't even like it. Like, I saw these violet crumbles. And I would have much preferred like a crunchy.
Oh, yeah.
But I saw them, I'm just like, it's Australian. I just need to stock up. And then
That's
I was
right.
just
I gotta
eating it
get
for
it.
the sake of
Exactly.
it being Australian. Like, not even kidding. Quick questions.
But Americans go for it.
Favourite restaurant and favourite store here?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good question.
I did hear you
And
like
thank you for not sharing the show notes with me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm going to say my favorite restaurant is pretty much almost any New Jersey diner at the moment. Although in terms of chain restaurants, I will give a shout out. Now, they're not in New Jersey, but I will give a shout out to Raising Cane's.
Never been, but I feel like
store.
I've seen one in Las Vegas maybe, and it looked really cool. Yep. Okay.
Or the other one, which is actually technically not a restaurant, technically it's a gas station, petrol servo, is Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's.
Oh, I keep seeing people do these videos of these, and I want to get. There's nothing like that over this side.
I'm telling you, you've got to get to a Buc-ee's whenever you can. Amazing. They are amazing. They're here. So if you think a petrol station in a servo in Australia and a Bunnings, if they have a child,
it would be a Buc-ee's.
If they have a child, it's a Buc-ee's.
I love it
because I'm telling you, Amanda, there's over 100 petrol bowsers at each Buc-ee's.
Wow.
Yeah?
I saw a video and it was like a whole wall of like jerky and stuff like that.
Yes. Oh yeah. And they do the brisket. The brisket, the meat. They do the brisket, and they actually have a song. So when the new brisket comes out of the smoker, and they all start singing "Brisket on the board, brisket on the board," and they start singing as they chop it up the brisket. But it is delicious.
That's amazing.
You think gas station food? No. This is restaurant quality food that they have. It's just fast and easy, and I think there's outdoor seating at some, but really it's just all takeaway.
That's on my list. What do you think of Applebee's? Because every time any family member of mine comes here, they want to go to Applebee's.
Applebee's on a date night? No, Applebee's for me anywhere, whether it to be Applebee's or any other. For me, the weirdest thing is even Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm actually going there tonight. Buffalo Wild Wings, B-Dubs. Actually, probably B-Dubs, I'm going to say, is my favorite restaurant as such. Yeah, I'll say B-Dubs, B-Dubs. I love sitting at a bar.
Yes.
Sitting at a bar, because my wife travels a lot, so I go out for a meal by myself. I'll sit at a bar,
such a done thing
and I am never bored.
Never.
Yeah, I'm never bored.
I don't recall
ever.
seeing this as much in Australia, but here it's a thing.
No, it's not. It's
I love
big
it, and
thing.
even if you're just with friends, you can just chat to the people around you, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah. And the other whole thing here as well, people don't understand, and you get excited because we see it in movies, we see it in TV shows, and that's the dive bar.
Yes.
Where you go into a bar and it's like all dingy coloured and all old or whatever else as well, but you go there and you can sit at the bar and you order a whiskey and the barman goes, "What's wrong with you, mate?" And they give it, just like they do in the movies. And I think to myself, I'm an old crusty detective, blah, 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 blah. I want a whiskey and I want a straight.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like a movie.
It does. I do feel like I'm in a movie all the time. Like even when I'm just driving and I'm looking at like 20 yellow buses, it like suddenly occurs to me, I'm like, it's so bizarre. I'm like in America. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And Americans are blown away that we don't have dedicated school buses. They ask me, they say, what do your kids go to school in a school bus? I go, it's like a normal bus that everyone else rides on too. Or it's
that's what I had to get to school.
Or a coach.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Or 2 feet and a heartbeat, not like they do here.
No.
So and the buses here as well, they have, if you've seen them, when they stop, they have a big arm that goes out the front to stop kids from walking in front of the bus. And then they have a stop sign that goes out the side, and it's illegal for you to overtake a bus in either direction when it's got the stop sign out. So everyone has to stop, and you see one child kiss mum goodbye from their front door and then twaddle up on. I'm like, for goodness sake, you're stopping all this traffic in New Jersey for one freaking child.
And from my house, from the main town, it's like 15 minutes up a mountain to my house. If I get behind that bus, it's like an hour. Normally it's like a 5, 6, 7 minute drive. It's like an hour because I literally cannot overtake this thing, and it stops at every single house. It's not even like it's stopping at bus stops. It's at bloody houses.
No. And that's what I said to my wife as well. So why can't these kids just all go to a bus stop or walk to a bus stop?
Yes,
you know?
thank you.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
It's insane. Like you do 2 or 3 stops before they get to school. No, they stop at every single kid's house.
Blows my mind. Okay, I've got one final question for you.
Yeah. Because we're over the hour now.
I don't even know what we're at. I can't even see it on here.
1 hour and 4 minutes.
Okay, what are your thoughts on tipping? Because as we know, Aussies do not tip.
Oh. I actually did a full video on this on my YouTube channel, An Aussie in America. Yeah. And look, I understand the reason behind the tip. Yes. Okay, I get that. I get the fact that these people used to work in service industries, and not just waiters and waitresses, but in a service industry business. Their pay was quite low, and in order to get good service, therefore you tip. Right. You know, if you get good service, you tip. You know what I mean? That's the thing. So the more friendly the person is, then the more the money you're going to make. Like a salesperson selling a car, the more cars they sell, the more commission they make. That was my point. And that was the idea. But now it's just ridiculous. Now it's next level. Now, like I was at the airport the other day, Amanda. I did a self-serve checkout, and it asked me for a tip.
Are you kidding me?
I'm like, am I going to tip myself?
Yeah.
I served myself. I did a self-service checkout, and it asked me for a tip at Newark.
That's a new level.
Newark Airport.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. It is. It's insane. So yeah, tipping for me, and I say to them as well. In Australia, we don't tip. Unless you're on like a nice date with a girl and you want to impress her, then you might give a tip.
Really?
Here's one thing for you as well. This actually brought it up. And that is, what's your thoughts, though, on the tax on top, the plus tax business?
Oh, my God. I hate it.
You know, it's insane.
The worst is when you go, I think my reality check here was when I went to the dollar store. And, you know, like let's say I got like 10 things and I'm at like going to pay and it's like, that's $10, like 95. And I'm like, no, it's $10. It is a dollar store. And they're like, the tax. And I'm like, what? But I hate it being added. Yeah. The benefit is.
So when
sorry, I was just going to say I live on the Oregon-Washington border. Oregon doesn't have sales tax. So whenever I need a TV or some huge item, travel to half an hour, buy my TV and get what it is. But here, oh my God, I hate it. Even buying a car. No, thousands of tax.
Yeah, I know. When my wife and her friends come over to Australia, and they went into a 7-Eleven on the corner with Abu Dhabi there as well, and they walked in, and my wife's friend, she was blown away. She bought it might have been a chocolate or some lollies or something, not candy. And she's like, it said $5, 2 for $5. She goes, and they only asked for $5. I go, yeah, that's because everything is tax inclusive. Already, you go to McDonald's and it's like two burgers for $3, and then you get to the checkout and they go $3.07. Thanks. It's like, oh, ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't get why they don't just include.
You can never have the right amount of money.
Right. It's true. You budget for that. You walk up with your $5, and then it's like, what? And then you have to like either scrounge up more money or like put something back. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, I will say this as well. As I said, I've been here for 3 years. I still don't get the currency in terms of the coins.
I do not use coins.
What's what?
I'm not even going to lie.
Neither do I.
It's too embarrassing sitting there trying to like count it out.
I just use card.
I don't even do cash. And if I do, it'll just be like some ones for like tipping little things like but that's about it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it. I round up everything normally. So because they still have 1 cent. They still have 1 cent here, 98 cents. It's like, well, just give me, round up to $1. I don't care. Just round it up.
Exactly. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I've really appreciated it.
Than't you for having me on.
I definitely have to do it again.
It's been great.
Because it's even great just to talk to another Aussie,
I know, right? I know.
Yeah,
that's why I'm very active on your TikTok because I enjoy the accent more than anything else. The algorithm just it pulled up. It gave me you, and also gives me an Australian comedian here in America as well. I think he's from LA at the moment too. So he does some tours and he does similar sort of thing, like, Australia versus America sort of stuff. So it's just the algorithm pushed you to me. I'm like, oh, look at this guy. G'day from USA. Love the name. And And then again, it was the accent, and then the style of TikTok. I've got a question here from a live American. I'm like, well, luckily she's not dead.
I know. Someone said to me today, "Can you stop saying live American? It's really annoying." And then I wrote back and I said, "Oh, sorry,
No.
It's like my catchphrase now." And then I said, "Thanks for the feedback." And then she literally wrote back and she's like, "You were really cool. You took it on the chin. Like, I'm sorry for being so negative." Like, she literally was so lovely about it. And I was like,
wow.
I said, "Thanks for being honest."
There you go. Thanks.
Yeah, every time I've never called anyone out, but every time they've said something more negative, I've been like, "Hey, thanks for the feedback," or whatever. Every time they've written back, like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to sound so rude," or whatever. You know what I mean? Because I've just taken it so well, or whatever.
Yeah,
it must be our Aussie way.
It really is. It really is. I mean, I've had a couple on there as well in regards to, especially the pumpkin chai lattes that they do now.
God.
Literally, that is a dirty chai in Australia. Like, it's the same. It tastes the same. I had an argument on your page, on one of your. I was on yours. And thanks very much. Someone wrote back saying it's nothing like it. I'm like, well, I'm an Australian and I live in America.
You've never tried it.
Like, I had my taste buds. Seriously, there were 6 months apart from my dirty chai in Australia to a pumpkin chai latte in America. They taste the same.
And you've had both.
Have I looked at the ingredients?
Has not had the Aussie one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And that's what I said. I go. And he goes, I live in Melbourne. Thank you very much. I go, oh, you're a Melbourneite now,
You've
are
never
you?
had
Like,
the
you're
American
a coffee
one,
snob.
right?
You've never had the American one. He goes, but I am a dual citizen. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I said, and then I looked at his profile picture and I'm like, well, your taste buds look too young anyway to be developed.
Can't argue with crazy. I don't even bother. I'm just like, whenever I see something like that, I just like scroll too hard. I can't even read all the comments. It's like overwhelming. Like,
no.
Like, I think I've had 10,000 comments on that one about open carry. I honestly, I don't have enough hours in the day to scroll and read them all.
That's huge.
Yeah, like I'll try to like what I can, but it's like debates on there. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to do this again, Amanda. I really enjoyed this. And in this one, we'll share some show notes next time. So I know what's coming up. I don't think off the cuff.
Any questions or feedback, please reach out to our Facebook page. Leave us a voicemail. Links in the show notes. If you would like to support us and buy me a coffee next week, jump on to buymeacoffee.com/GetAUSA. Rate and review us. And as we always say, if it's not 5 stars, don't even bother. Craig, give a little plug for your podcast, Treasures of Our Town.
Treasures of Our Town podcast. And if you're into location-based games, there is the official Munsey podcast. Don't forget YouTube as well. Yes. Aussie in America on YouTube and TikTok. Aussie in America on TikTok? Yes, Aussie in America on TikTok. If you're into geocaching, there's the Aussie Geocacher See My Shell on YouTube as well. And, of course, the Facebook and the Instagram as well. So,
I will check it out right now. Thank you so much.